For decades, the deal we've had with Google has been super simple, right? You ask a question, you get a bunch of links. But that's all changing. Like right now, there's this huge shift happening in how we find stuff online. And guess what? It's all being driven by AI. And this right here, this shows you exactly what I mean. On the left, that's the Google we all grew up with, right? The classic 10 blue links. But look at the right. That's the new Google. It's called an AI overview, and it's a straight-up answer in a paragraph sitting right at the top of the page. So what's making this all possible? Well, it all starts with a pretty massive upgrade happening behind the curtain. Think of it like this. Google basically swapped out the engine that powers these new answers for something way, way more powerful. And that new engine is called Gemini 3. This is now the default AI model for all those AI overviews you're seeing. And here's why it's such a game changer. Gemini 3 is amazing at complex reasoning. I mean, we're not just talking about matching keywords anymore. Oh no. This thing can actually understand and piece together information from all over to build a summary just for you. But you know what? Getting a smarter answer is really just the start. The whole experience of searching is being totally redesigned. It's shifting away from just a single search and turning into more of an ongoing conversation. And this quote from Robbie Stein, he's the VP of product for Google Search, it really gets to the heart of their strategy. He's basically saying, look, people ask really complicated stuff. One answer just isn't going to cut it sometimes. You need to explore. So the goal here is to let you go from a simple question to a really deep back and forth conversation totally seamlessly. So here's how this new journey actually works. First, you do your search, right? And you get that AI overview we talked about. But then you can just ask a follow-up question. And this is the cool part. It doesn't just start a whole new search. Nope. It pulls you into what Google's calling AI mode, where you just keep the conversation going. And here is where the magic really happens. The AI actually remembers what you've been talking about. The context from your first search, it just carries right over. So you don't have to repeat yourself over and over again, which is, super annoying. Google found that this just makes the whole thing feel way more natural and, honestly, a lot more helpful. Okay, so this might all just sound like a nice little user-friendly update, but believe me, the implications here are massive. This one change creates a huge ripple effect that's going to be felt across the entire internet. Just think about the scale for a second. Google's AI overviews have now reached over 1 billion users. 1 billion! When you roll out a change to that many people, you're not just changing a few search habits. You are literally reshaping how information gets delivered around the globe. But that brings up a really, really important question, doesn't it? If Google is just giving you the answer directly, where is that information even coming from? And maybe more importantly, who gets the credit for it? So here's that ripple effect I was talking about. Every single time Google updates its AI model, like they just did with Gemini 3, it can completely change which websites get used as a source, which ones get cited, and ultimately which ones you ever even see. This is a huge, huge shift for anyone who creates content online because it affects their visibility, their traffic. It really changes the entire relationship between you, the searcher, and the original source of the info. Look, these updates aren't just a few tweaks here and there. They're a crystal clear signal about where Google is headed. This whole AI-first approach, it's here to stay, and it's only going to get more and more integrated into everything they do. So what's next? Well, Google's already talking about getting even smarter about this. They plan to automatically send your really complex questions to the powerhouse, Gemini 3, but use faster, simpler AI models for basic stuff like, hey, what's the weather? The trend is undeniable. They want to make it easier and more natural for you to just stay inside these AI-powered conversations. And all of this leaves us with one big question to chew on. For, 20 years now, we've all learned how to talk to search engines, right? We use keywords, short little phrases, we speak their language. But now, as search engines are finally learning to speak our language, is the future of finding information going to be less about typing and a lot more about just talking?